After learning about the truth about the world, Eren realizes that they have more dangerous enemies than the Titans. Using his newfound Titan powers, he will try to regain freedom for the sake of humanity. For hundreds of years, people inside the walls have been living a peaceful and stable life. But one day, when a colossal Titan broke a hole in the outside wall, he began for humanity once more. Many people died during the rampage. After 2 years, two friends named Eren and Armin joined the Survey Corps. Armin, who lost both of his parents after the breaching incident, joined because he wanted to know the truth about the world outside the walls. On the other hand, Eren joined the Survey Corps to avenge his friend Mikasa, whom he thought died while protecting a baby 2 years ago. But to his surprise, Mikasa turned out to be alive and had become one of the best soldiers. When something went wrong in their mission to reclaim Monzon, the commander-in-chief selfishly left Eren and the others to fend off the Titans. This caused many casualties on the part of the Survey Corps. Armin was supposed to be eaten by one of the Titans, but Eren sacrificed himself for him. When everyone thought that there was no hope left, an attack Titan burst out of another Titan. The attack Titan fought and killed the other Titans. And to the Survey Corps' surprise, Eren was found inside the attack Titan. In a flashback, Eren's father and Suda were experimenting on little Eren. Eren's mother then showed up to stop them. Suddenly, they heard an aggressive knock on the door. Eren's mother left Eren in Suda's care as they hid from the people looking for her and her husband. Little Eren witnessed as the men that barged into their house took away his parents and burned down their home. Going back to the present, Eren wakes up and finds himself restrained by a chain with a gag in his mouth. Everyone is alerted, and the soldiers from the military police brigade quickly point their guns at him. The surviving members of the Survey Corps can't do anything to help Eren. Commander Kubal shows up and then starts monologuing that although resources are limited inside the wall, people know how to harmonize with each other and be content with what they have. All of this is because of their united urge to survive against the Titans from the outside wall. He then asks Eren if he is a human or a Titan, to which Eren insists that he's a human. He looks at Armin and the others, but they stay silent. Eren looks for Captain Shikishima, but Kubal says that he died during the attack. As the commander is about to leave, he orders his soldiers to shoot Eren. Mustering up all his courage, Armin speaks up and tells Kubal that Eren fought the Titans for them. Armin adds that with Eren, they have a chance of fighting the Titans. Hans also objects to the execution of Eren, saying that he can still be of use as a subject of observation and experimentation. However, Kubal says that even if they have Eren, they cannot still block the hole because all of their explosives are gone. Just then, Eren, Armin, and Mikasa remember that dud bomb that they found before. Hans becomes interested in it, but Kubal stops her. He states that they are only delaying Eren's execution and accuses them of being part of the rebellion. Without wasting any more time, Kubal orders his men to take down Eren, but Armin stays on Eren's side. Sanagi wants to side with him as well, but Jean reminds him that he should think of his siblings and what would happen to them if he dies. Armin asks Mikasa if she will abandon Eren too, but Mikasa doesn't answer. Armin then bravely declares that they should shoot him as well. Angry, Eren curses Kubal for being such a coward that doesn't even give him the chance to fight the Titans. Eren states that he feels that his whole life is meaningless, but after knowing that he can become of use to humanity, even as a Titan, he wants to do it. At this time, Mikasa draws her blade, finally ready to protect Eren. Seeing this, Kubal mockingly asks if she's willing to protect someone that might end up eating her. Then, Suda butts in and tries to explain that although the humans inside a Titan only have a very limited time before they get absorbed and lose control, it is still possible for them to have complete control over the Titans. But before he finishes explaining, Kubal uses his stick to make a soldier pull the trigger of his gun that's pointing at Suda. Kubal dismisses Suda's words and says that he's just a drunk man blabbering nonsense. When Kubal gives the order to shoot Eren, everyone is shocked to see another Titan breach from above the facility. This Titan is just like Eren's, but its body is covered with rock-hard materials just like armor. Hans is amazed upon seeing this new Titan. She then spots the body of Kubal pinned down by the debris that fell upon the armored Titan's arrival. The soldiers fire their guns at the Titan, but it easily disposes of them. When the armored Titan grabs Eren, one soldier tries to cut its nape. However, the Titan immediately covers its nape. That's when Hans realizes that the Titan also has consciousness. It starts attacking the others, but when Mikasa steps in front of Armin and the others, the armored Titan stops. The Titan just decides to leave, taking Eren with him. After the Titan and Eren leave, they bury Suda. At his tomb, Armin wonders what he was trying to say to them earlier. Nearby, Hans is planning what they will do to finish their mission of covering the hole in Monzen. However, Jean decides to quit, but the others still want to continue their mission. Armin says that Jean could just go home if there's still someone waiting for him that hasn't been eaten by a Titan. Realizing that Armin is right, Jean gets back to the truck and rejoins the others. With everyone on board, they all set their way back to Monzen. The scene changes to Eren waking up in a bright white room. There, Eren only sees a jukebox playing a song. It is Eren's first time seeing and hearing a jukebox. When he clicks a button, the song stops playing, and Shikishima, who is presumed dead, suddenly speaks. Looking back, Eren is surprised to see that he is still alive. According to Shikishima, the song pertains to the end of the world. The captain then says that he followed the Titan that kidnapped him and saved him, but the Titan managed to escape. Afterward, Shikishima shows Eren some video footage recorded many years ago. In the video, a man is being experimented on while a bunch of military and high government officials watched. Suddenly, an explosion happened and the man turned into a Titan. Shikishima reveals to Eren that Titans are once humans. According to the captain, the Titans were purposely created by humans as a weapon. Unfortunately, they somehow got out of control and started to appear everywhere. Without knowing who will turn into the next Titan, humanity began killing each other. This leads to the self-destruction of humanity and civilization. Shikishima continues to explain that the people inside the walls never turned into a Titan. Then, a small number of rulers decide to govern the majority to build a better world. Meanwhile, Mikasa shares with the group that Shikishima used to tell her that they should abandon something they have to protect in order to become stronger. That's when Armin realizes why Mikasa was avoiding him and Eren when they saw her for the first time again after 2 years. Tsunagi then shows her a doll that his sister made for him and says that he will not abandon them. At this time, Jean spots some Titans not far away from them. Upon seeing them, Hans gets bored when she notices that they are just normal Titans. While the others are distracted by the nearby Titans, Sasha quietly asks Mikasa if she is in a relationship with Shikishima, but she doesn't answer. Just then, the scene cuts back to Shikishima and Eren. The captain indicates that the breaking of the wall 2 years ago actually opened an opportunity for the government. At that time, the scout regiment is about to explore the outside of the walls. This means that people's discontent with living inside the wall is getting stronger, hence their loyalty to the government becomes weaker. Eren finally connects the dots and realizes that the attack that happened back then was planned. Eren gets angry because many people died that day, and until now, people still sacrifice their lives to repair the wall. At that moment, Shikishima tells Eren that the government doesn't really want to repair the wall. What they want is for the citizens to see how the people that tried to be a hero and get outside the wall be brutally murdered by Titans. Being reinstilled with fear, people will have no other choice but to rely on the government again. Therefore, total control will be back in the hands of the government. Eren is completely frustrated with everything that he has learned from Shikishima. At this time, the captain invites Eren to end the government's madness together. Using Eren's ability to become a Titan, they can end the era of slavery and open up a new era of freedom. Eren accepts the offer and they toast to solidify their partnership. However, Eren is not used to the taste of alcohol, so he throws up. Seeing this, the captain laughs at him as he orders Eren to follow him. Going back to the group, Tsunagi asks why Jean volunteers for Survey Corps, saying that he's not compelled to join the squad since he lives in the inner city. Jean says he wants to prove to his father that he can be someone useful as well. Meanwhile, Armin is modifying Sasha's arrow and attaches a bomb to it. After a while, they finally spot the dud bomb on the top of the hills where Eren, Mikasa, and Armin used to hang out before. On the other side of the town, Eren and Shikishima go back to the surface and it is revealed that Shikishima is actually the leader of the rebellion. As it turns out, the rebels are the old Scout Corps that were said to have been wiped out during their last mission outside the wall. Shikishima just spreads the false information that their squad was annihilated to keep the explosives. Looking at the rebels, Eren notices that they are holding an unfamiliar kind of gun. The captain explains that those guns are from the time before the Titan War happened. The government has just been keeping it a secret from them. Although those weapons are useless against Titans, they are very lethal to humans, and the government is prepared to use it on humanity when the situation requires them. Overlooking the devastated town of Monzin, Eren remembers the time when everyone is still at peace and happy. On the other part of the town, Armin and the others are preparing to transport the dud bomb. The only problem they have now is how they will pull the bomb up at the top of the wall. Tsunagi suggests that they should all pull it up. Armin then says that it will be easier if they could only attach the bomb to Eren. However, Jean points out that Eren is still missing. He is also skeptical if Eren will still listen to them if he becomes a Titan. Nearby, Mikasa and Sasha are looking at the walls when Mikasa remembers her time with Eren. As they continue traveling, Sasha offers Mikasa a potato, but Mikasa gives it back to her because Sasha loves potatoes. Upon reaching the town, the Survey Corps are blocked by the rebels. However, instead of getting shocked or afraid, Hans gets excited when she sees that the rebels are carrying guns from the past. Eren then gets out of the tank and immediately goes to Mikasa and the others. He apologizes for making them worry and tells them that Captain Shikishima saved him. The captain steps out of the tank as well and gives his apple to Sasha. He also thanks the group for digging up the dud bomb for him. Hans passionately asks about the pre-Titan War weapons, and Shikishima permits her to inspect the weapons further. To her excitement, she falls inside the tank. But to their surprise, instead of going to the broken wall, Shikishima wants to go to the innermost city and overthrow the government. He shares with them his plan to destroy the 2 other walls. As the Titans storm to the inner cities, they will be able to overthrow the government with one strike. Even Eren is surprised to hear this. He thought that they will only use the bombs to seal the hole, and that's why he agreed to Shikishima earlier. Eren points out that innocent people will die. But the captain argues that those people tolerate the government's greed for so long, and that makes them equally as guilty as the government. Yet Eren insists that people don't deserve to die. Shikishima laughs and mocks him that when he killed the Titans, he also killed the innocent humans that didn't choose to become a Titan. Then, he declares to everyone that their enemies are not the Titans, but the government that's controlling them using fear. He invites them to join him and abandon everyone so that they can build a new world. Remembering all of the people he loves and cares that died because of the Titans, Eren refuses to join him. He says that he won't abandon anyone because he doesn't want to lose anyone anymore. Eren fights Shikishima in hopes to prevent him from going to the inner walls with the explosives. Unfortunately, the captain is way out of Eren's league. He just thrashes Eren around without breaking a sweat. Seeing that Eren can't beat Shikishima, Mikasa stops them. The captain then kisses her in front of everyone as a way to tell them about the relationship between him and Mikasa. But when she pulls away and slaps him, Shikishima doesn't hesitate to assault her. The beaten-up Eren stands up and fights him once more after seeing him hurt Mikasa. But nothing has changed. He still loses against the captain. When Shikishima is about to finish Eren, Sasha throws an apple at him. When he looks back, he sees that Armin is holding a fake detonator of the dud bomb, threatening to detonate if he doesn't stop. Jean and Tsunagi quickly help Eren to bring him back to the truck. Shikishima dares him to press the button because he knows that it's fake. He's about to order his men to shoot Armin and the others when Tsunagi launches the cable of his ODM gear to a nearby tower. Using his strength, he pulls down the tower as the rebels shoot him, sacrificing his life to save Armin and the others. The tower falls into the bombs, causing a massive explosion. Unfortunately for them, Shikishima survives as he hitches a ride to the track before he was caught in the explosion. He wants to continue his mission using the dud bomb. Jean tells him he cannot do it alone. That is when Shikishima reveals himself to be the armored Titan. Armin immediately drives close to the wall while the captain is transforming into a Titan. Eren is about to transform into a Titan to fight him, but Jean stops him, saying that they will fight together. Mikasa then wears Eren's scarf again as they head out to the Titan. The group launches at Shikishima and hits the exposed flesh to weaken him. When Jean is about to give the finishing strike, the armored Titan swings his arm to stop him. Eren immediately flies to save Jean. Afterward, when Shikishima is about to pick up the dud bomb, Eren suddenly transforms into the attack Titan. The two Titans brawl, and Eren is still badly losing. Picking up the propeller of a helicopter, Eren uses it to wound him. Then, as the armored Titan gets a hold of his feet, Eren uses it as leverage to give him a knee to his face. Eren roars in victory as the armored Titan evaporates. Afterward, Eren begins to climb to put the dud bomb into the crack in the middle part of the wall. Unfortunately, Eren's Titan starts to weaken and evaporates. At this time, Mikasa makes a small cut on the Titan's neck and talks to Eren. Hearing her voice, Eren wakes up and finally manages to put the bomb in the crack. After setting up the timer for the bomb, the group is about to leave, but Kubal suddenly shows up. All of them are surprised to see that he's still alive. Kubal bribes them that if they will surrender Eren to him, they can live a prosperous life in the inner city. But they all refuse, causing Kubal to shoot Armin. When Kubal starts monologuing again about the importance of the wall, Sasha suddenly shoots him with arrows. But to their surprise, Kubal transforms into the colossal Titan, the Titan that started Hell 2 years ago. Eren, Mikasa, and Jean try to fight Kubal, but they can't go near him because of the hot steam coming out of his body. On the other hand, Sasha brings the wounded Armin to the ground. Unfortunately, Kubal kills Jean when he tries to stop the colossal Titan from grabbing the bomb. When Eren is getting burned by Kubal, Hans, who survives the explosion earlier by being inside a tank, shoots a rocket launcher at the colossal Titan's face. At this time, the timer hits 0, but the bomb doesn't explode. Mikasa goes to check the bomb, but Shikishima suddenly shows up. He is amused by Eren's dedication to protecting innocent people. Mikasa then talks some sense into him, touching the remaining good part of him. Meanwhile, Eren is grabbed by Kubal, who wants to crush him with his hand. But Shikishima's armored Titan comes rushing and saves Eren. Looking at Eren, he says that Eren can still do more for humanity. He then puts the bomb into Kubal's mouth and it explodes. The explosion causes the debris to fall, covering the hole. When Armin, Sasha, and Hans recover from the explosion, they see Eren and Mikasa on top of the wall. The movie ends with Eren and Mikasa looking over the outside world and the ocean as Eren promises that this is only just the beginning.